crude, enhance domestic refinery. And we have some couples of columnists here. We have Ondonu, that's on page 16, Adekoya on page 18, Azu on 22. All right, and for the sports lovers, that will be the last one I'll be picking on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. For the sport lovers, it said, Super Falcons camp swells as Kanu Ihezuo arrives. It says, Super Falcons camp swells as Kanu Ihezuo arrives. Then the second one is on Owe Lankemfa. Said, ECOWAS does not seem to understand that as far as the AEC members are concerned, they are fighting a war of survival, which, okay, that story is on page 17. That story is on page 17 of the Vanguard newspaper. If you're interested, you can pick it up. Then we have this coming from the governor and deputy governor of Edo State. He said Edo will be back. They have a picture of the governor and the deputy governor right in front of it. And that's all I have on the Vanguard newspaper this morning.
From the Vanguard newspaper, we're moving straight to Daily Trust newspaper. Akpabio Lawan clash over change to Senate plenary time. That's on the front page, and details of this, it's on page 13 of the Daily Trust newspaper. To page 4, Governor Aliyu assents to law-stripping Sultan of Power to appoint district heads. You'd have to pick a copy of the Daily Trust newspaper. 250,000 minimum wage unrealistic, Tinubu tells Labour. That's on page 10 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Away from that, still talking about the local government and the Supreme Court. Supreme Court's verdict, a local council must now account for own actions. This is coming from our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And the writer says, also amend constitution to get INEC conduct local government polls. This is coming from an ex-governor. All institutions must be respected, says Professor Yadudu. And governor would review decision. This is coming from Soludo. That's details of all this. It's all on page 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Ex-Power Minister Maman remanded in correctional center. That's on page 12. And the court refuses bench warrant against Ganduje. Others trial in absentia. That's on page 6 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Catholic bishops Ulama rejects Samoa agreement. That's on page 10 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And that's all on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper.
All right, moving ahead from the Daily Trust newspaper to the Daily Independence newspaper. I'll be kickstarting with this story from our president. He said, I'm still committed to realistic minimum wage, says Tinubu. And it has only one rider. He said, Labour meets president again next week after tabling economic hardship. That story is on the Daily Independence newspaper. All right, moving ahead to page 6. It says, governors to meet, review Supreme Court verdicts on local government autonomy, giving journalists their constitutional rights. Reps Flay depriving journalists their constitutional right. Still on page 6, on alleged 33 billion naira fraud. Said ex-minister collapses before arraignment, remanded in Kuje prison. Still on page 6, and that's on Kogi Guba. Appeal Court upholds Ododo's election, dismisses Ajaka's petition. That's on page 6. The stories are on page 6 of the Daily Independence newspaper. Moving ahead to page 7, it says that's on Supreme Court judgment. It says Seraps give governors, FCT minister 7 days to return local government funds. The Supreme Court, this story is coming from the Supreme Court. It says Seraps give governor, federal capital territory minister 7 days to return the local government fund. And here, making it boldly on the Daily Independence newspaper headline today, this story reads, Misreaction trails Supreme Court rulings on local government fiscal autonomy. And it has some couples of rider. The first one saying, Apex call bar governors from dissolving elected local government council. Then the second rider said only elected officials will control local government autonomy. That one is coming from our president, President Tinubu. The third rider says Atiku described judgment as a win for the people of Nigeria. Atiku that never Labour Party comments Supreme Court judgment. And lastly, the last rider says ruling severe setback on principles of federalism, and that one is coming from Ibori. And the headline says mixed reaction trails Supreme Court's ruling on local government fiscal autonomy. If you're interested, you can pick the Daily Independence newspaper. All right, moving ahead, we have high interest rate outcome of huge money supply in the... And lastly, the story I'll be picking on the Daily Independence newspaper, I said NDIC to prosecute directors management over collapse of Heritage Bank. And that's all I have on the Daily Independence newspaper this morning. And don't forget, you can watch us live on Facebook at Iwi 96.1 FM.
From the Daily Independence, my next paper is the Guardian newspaper. Autonomy, why local governments have not escaped powerful collapse of governors. That's on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Arrested vessels cost Navy $10,000 daily in maintenance. That's on page 3. Cardoso links inflation to failed 10 trillion naira intervention funds and CBN overdraft. That's on business page 15 of the Guardian newspaper. Nigerians' confidence in anti-graft war dwindling. Nigeria's confidence in anti-graft war dwindling. That's on page 7. And away from that, Tinubu Labour leaders parley inconclusive to continue next week. That's on page 6, and this report is about the minimum wage. Grant charges, Ganduje wife orders to face trial in October. That's on page 28 of the Guardian newspaper. Now to the big story in the Guardian newspaper. Filthy abattoirs on organic meat processing spike their health concerns. That's on page 4 and page 5, and that's all there is on the front page of the Guardian newspaper.
All right, moving ahead, we have the Nigerian Tribune here. Written boldly is also the same story that I've been making all the dailies today, said on financial autonomy for local government. Tinubu Atiku Ozekome NLC, that's the the Nigerian Labour Congress, Algon, LP, Nod, others hail Supreme Court government. That's on page 6 and page 5 and page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune. That's the reason, page 5 and page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune. All right, moving ahead, we have Tinubu's meeting with Labour leaders. No deal yet on minimum wage. And that story is on page 11. And as the writer said, meeting to reconvene in 1 week. And on minimum wage. No deal yet on new minimum wage. All right, moving ahead from that, we have Onkoge Guba. Appeal Court affirms Ododo's election. And that story is on page 4. It has one writer. It said dismisses SDP Ajaka's appeal. All right, moving ahead to page 12. Adeleke reaffirms sanctity of Oluwo of Iwo land as consenting authority. That story is on page 12. If you're interested, is on the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. All right, on page 19, we have Blue Economic Key to Youth Empowerment. That is coming from Oyetola, and that's the ex-governor of Osun State, Oyetola. Blue Economic Key to Youth Empowerment. And moving on that same page 19, we have coronation of 43rd Olubadan holds today. Congratulations to the new Olubadan. Coronation of 43rd Olubadan holds today. All right, and lastly, the stories that I'll be picking said, couple arrested for allegedly trying to sell their 2-year-old baby to fund Jackpa. And that story is on page 30 of the Nigerian Tribune. And lastly, on page 12, we have terrorists targeting national critical infrastructure, DHQ says. And that's all I have on the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Oluwaseun, I think we're going to share.
Okay, we'd have to go on a short break. That's the end of the fourth leg of the morning rush. We've given you papers, stories that made the front page of The Nation, The Punch, The Vanguard, Daily Trust, Daily Independent, The Guardian, and The Nigerian Tribune. Now we go on a break. When we come back from our break, we'll be going straight off to these newspapers and giving you some of the stories that made the front page. Don't go anywhere. This is still Erie 96.1 FM, and this is the Morning Rush.
Feeling stuck? Need a boost of inspiration? Look no further. The dew of motivation is here. You are listening to Erie 96.1, your favorite radio station for non-stop classics. We are the king.
Erie 96.1, 96.1. Erie bringing you non-stop hits.
Number one for today's hits.
And Royal Entertainment, we are the king. You are locked into Erie 96.1 FM, the majestic station that rules the sound waves.
Let's go. This is your radio, your station. You're locked into 96.1 Erie FM. Your station. Erie 96.1. Star Classics. We are the king. Feeling stuck? Need a boost of inspiration? Look no further. The dew of motivation is here. You are listening to Erie 96.1, your favorite radio station for non-stop classics. We are the king. Keep it loud, it's Erie 96.1 FM. Don't touch the dial.
96.1, 96.1. Erie bringing you non-stop hits.
Number one for today's hits.
And Royal Entertainment, we are the king.
In the heart of Africa, where the sun's golden rays illuminate the vast landscape, a kingdom of pride and heritage awaits. Welcome to the realm where royalty thrives, where the spirit of kingship echoes through the ages. Discover the majestic allure of being a king. This is Erie 96.1 FM. We are the king.
Welcome back from that short break. We thank you for still tuning in to Erie. And if you're just joining us, this is the Morning Rush on Erie 96.1 FM. And don't forget you can watch us live on Facebook at Erie 96.1 FM. And later we will open the studio line for you to call in and contribute to the stories we read to you. All right, I'll be kickstarting with the Punch newspaper this morning, and that story is on minimum wage. Tinubu Labour talks adjourned till next week. Said Thursday talks between President Bola Tinubu and the organized labor on minimum wage were adjourned until next week to allow for wider consultation with all stakeholders. The leadership of the organized labor, led by the president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Joe Ajaero, and the Trade Union Congress, Festus Osifo, had arrived at the State House about 2 p.m. and were ushered into Tinubu's office. The tripartite committee on the new national minimum wage had recently submitted 2 figures to the president as the organized private sector and the government team offered to pay 62,000 naira, while the organized labor demanded 250,000 naira. following the disagreements over the figure. The president had delayed sending any figure to the National Assembly to the executive bill to consult with all the relevant stakeholders in order to resolve all the contentious issues. Ajaero, who addressed the state as correspondent after the meeting, said there were no negotiations at the 1-hour meeting. Rather, it was a discussion on the current economic reality in the country, he stated. In a real sense, that's coming from Jairo, it wasn't a negotiation but a discussion, and we have had that discussion. We agreed to look at the real terms, probably at the reconvene in the next 1 week. So that's where we are, because we didn't go down there to talk Naira and Kobo. At least there were some basic issues that we agreed on. And the story goes on and on the minimum wage. Tinubu Labour talks adjourned till next week.
My first paper right now is the Nation newspaper, and my first story is talking about the local government autonomy. Governors lose financial control over local government. The Supreme Court orders direct payment of council allocation, no funding for councils without elected officials. 479 out of 774 councils lose access to federation account cash. These are the writers, now the story. Proponents of the local government autonomy scored a major victory yesterday as the Supreme Court stripped governors of financial control over councils. The highest court effectively freed the third tier from the control of the state government by restraining governors from further managing or utilizing allocations meant for it. It held in a judgment that it was wrong for a state government to retain and utilize local government statutory allocation paid through them. A 7-member panel declared unlawful the running of local government by non-elected and appointed officials. The court declared as gross misconduct the dissolution of democratically elected local governments by governors whose responsibility under Section 7(1) of the Constitution is to ensure their existence. It barred the federal government from releasing funds to local governments managed by undemocratically elected officials, such as caretaker committees. The judgment was on a suit filed on behalf of the federal government by the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, a senior advocate of Nigeria, with all the 36 states Attorney General as defendants. The Supreme Court, in the lead judgment by Justice Emmanuel Agim, held that the suit had a merit. It granted all relief sought. The apex court issued an order of injunction restraining the defendants by themselves, that previous agents, officials, or whosoever called from receiving, spending, or tampering with funds released from the Federation account for the benefit of local government councils when no democratically elected local government system is in place. The court also ordered the federal government, through its relevant officials, to commence immediately the direct payment to local government councils the amount standing to their credit in the Federation account. It ordered that henceforth no state governments should be paid any money standing to the credit of the local government in the Federation. The apex court also issued an immediate compliance by the state through their elected or appointed officials and public officers with the terms of judgments and orders. Well, you want to know, because there is so much to the story, especially at this time in Nigeria. So if in case you're interested in the details and other judgments given, do well to pick a copy of the Nation newspaper. The headline says governors lose financial control over local government. Before you take your next story, I want the listeners to just what do you think about this judgment at this time and age? When I read the report, when I read the report, I thought, isn't it interesting that in 2024, because let's just take it back, secondary school students are being taught the 3 tiers of government, yes. Federal, state. Mm-hmm. Now, if it contravenes with the reality, isn't it creating a problem right now? And I think this is a big win if this judgment will be upheld. So what do you think about this judgment granting the local arm of government its own autonomy? What do you think about this? Is it too early or too late, or the right time for such a judgment? 090-5696-9961.
I think it's okay. To me, I think it's okay. There's nothing like too late or too early in government. Mm-hmm. And how should I put it? This advanced country we look at, they also make some critical decisions to also get to where they are. So I think it's a good move. It
It's
can
a
be
good move.
if it can be approved.
No, the court has given its judgment, but well, the implementation is what is
Yes.
left. Because I know of some states in Nigeria that don't have elected, so we should be looking out for some election and how the local government election is going to pan out. Because the judgment said it's only funds should be released to elected officials.
Officials, yes.
So there's, according to this judgment, there's no more caretaker. So now we're looking out how it's going. Like I just can't wait for how the whole politics is going to pan out.
In fact, how should I put it? I'm expectant, to see more development rather than
the good thing about this judgment is now we can hold the local government
responsible. Yes, you can hold them responsible if they are not doing the work.
Because usually some would say they have no funds to implement their plans. Now we don't have to local government don't have to look directly to the state government.
Yes, to
if your local government, if this judgment is implemented and it's applied, if your local government is not up to tax, is not doing what other local government, you know who to hold responsible and accountable.
Yes.
Okay, so let's just fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. 09056969961. Local government autonomy in Nigeria. The Supreme Court has given its judgment that governors should stay hands off local government funds. So what do you think about this judgment and what do you expect from this judgment?
All right, I'm still on the Punch newspaper, and the story I'll be reading to you is Senate seek to end IG PSC clashes. It said the Senate on Thursday frowned at unending clashes between the Inspector General of Police and the Chairman of the Police Service Commission over recruitment exercise. It accordingly urged the newly confirmed chairman of PSC, DIG Ashimu Agungu, retired, to work harmoniously with the police authority. Senate comments on clashes between the IGP and the chairman of PSC came after confirmation of Agungu as chairman of PSC, Chief Onyemuche Nnamani as secretary, and Taiwo Lakanu as a member. The president of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, in his remark after the confirmation of the nominees, said the Committee on the Police Affair should ensure oversight function hereafter to avoid the mistake of yesteryears, particularly the idea of the Police Office of the Inspector General of Police struggling with the Police Service Commission on issues of recruitment and thereby retarding the progress of security in the nation. He added in a quote, "In the last 2 years, we probably would have had an additional 20,000 Nigerians into the Nigerian police force. But unfortunately, as a result of personality clashes, the issue went as far as the Supreme Court. Whether withdrawn or not withdrawn, this Police Service Commission we have just cleared today and the Office of the Inspector General of Police should be cautioned to take interest of Nigerians into consideration and the security of the nation uppermost and not their interest, and work harmoniously toward the realization of Mr. President's vision that Nigerians should be allowed to sleep with their eyes closed." What do you think about this story, Oluwaseun? And it is on Senate end to high GPSC clashes.
It's just interesting that such two key powers in the
in the security force.
I don't know if I'm being careful right now because the main tax at hand, that is not what they're addressing.
Yes.
So I don't know how. Honestly, I don't even know what to make of this. But hopefully,
they end their clash and
yes, because at the end of the day, the service in which you're paid to render is not to clash with. It's not. It's not for
internal fight.
No, it's not for that. It's bound to happen, but it's only advisable that they settle it just as the Senate president had admonished. Right. So let's just see how it pans out later on in later years. Okay. Well, Nigeria. What do you think about this? 090-5696-9961. 090-5696-9961. That's the number to call to be a part of this conversation. Another interesting report. This is coming from the Vanguard newspaper. And it says Nigerians pay 700 and 21 billion naira cash bribes to government officials. This is coming from NBS survey. Now, a survey is speaking right here, and it says a National Bureau of Statistics NBS survey report has shown the Nigerians paid 721 billion naira in cash bribes to public officials in 2023. The survey report titled Corruption in Nigeria, Path and Trend was released yesterday, indicated that more than 95% of all bribes Nigeria paid in 2023 were in monetary forms. Meanwhile, the report also showed that Nigeria's confidence in the government's anti-corruption efforts declined during the review year, that is the 2023. And speaking further on Nigeria's confidence in the government's anti-corruption efforts, MBS has said Nigeria's confidence in government anti-corruption efforts has been declining over time and across regions. While in 2019, more than half of all citizens thought that the government was effective in fighting corruption, in 2023, the share declined to less than a third of all citizens. NBS report also revealed that private sector bribery increased from 6.0% of citizens who had at least one contact with a private sector actor in 2019 to 14% in 2023. Well, that's the report. Right. That's the report. So what could have gone wrong? Because I know the previous government, one of the clarion calls, so to speak, is to fight corruption.
Yes.
Now, the previous administration fought corruption, and still, it's still very much around. And I mean, look at the stats: 721 billion naira in cash. In cash.
In cash.
In cash. And we're not talking about other tangible gifts, because there are other forms of bribery. We're not talking about all that, but we're talking about cash. 721 billion naira cash to public officials. This one is to public officials. Well, Nigeria, which way forward? 090-5696-9961.
All right, I'm still on the Punch newspaper, and this too is on something like that. It said $413,000 bribery. Kano governors arraign Ganduje. Kano government arraigns Ganduje, wife orders in absentia. It said the Kano state government on Thursday arraigned immediate past governor Abdullahi Ganduje, his wife Afsat, son Umar, and 6 others for alleged $413,000 and 1.8 billion naira bribery. The defendants who have sent for court were arraigned in absentia. The governor, Haba Yusuf-led government had since April filed the charges against Ganduje and others, but efforts to serve them the charges had proved abortive. At the previous hearing on June 5th, the prosecution obtained an order to serve the charges on them by substituted means through newspaper publication. Justice Amina Aliyu had then adjourned to Thursday, July 11 for the arraignment. At the resumed proceeding on Thursday, Ganduje, who is now the national chairman of the ruling All Progressive Congress APC, and his co-defendants were again absent. Angered by the developments, the prosecuting counsel for Kano State government, Adeola Adedayo, SAN, urged the Justice Aliyu to issue a bench warrant for the arrest. The judge, however, declined the prayer, noting that the political situation in the state was already charged and being exploited by some to cause mayhem. Justice Aliyu, however, granted the prayer to arraign the defendants in absentia. And the story goes on and on $413,000 billion bribery. Kano government arraigns Ganduje, wife orders in absentia. This is so sad. Like, from our public servants, the bribery issue, the embezzlement is so much.
Well, I mean, even even a child knows right now. But we just hope that the law will take its full course, because at the end of the day, if those who are found wanting guilty of such allegations, because they are still innocent until proven guilty, if those who are found wanting in this regard are not held accountable for their action, it's not a good motivation to those coming behind. I mean, if people who are committing such crimes are not made to do the time, then there wouldn't be a motivation for for everyone to sit up and sit tight and know that Nigeria is not a place where anything goes. It's not a place where anything goes. Okay. Well, let's move on to another one, and this one is also talking about the ex-minister Maman, who, well, let's just say court sent ex-minister Maman to prison over alleged the 3.804 billion naira fraud. And the defendant collapses before arraignment. A federal high court in Abuja has ordered that former Minister of Power, Saila Maman, be remanded in Kuje prison in Abuja pending the consideration of his bail application. Justice James Omotosho issued the order on Thursday after Maman was arraigned on a 12-count charge bordering on money laundering offences. He pleaded not guilty to the charge brought against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, following which the prosecuting lawyer, Olumide Fusika, sought a date for the commencement of the trial. Well, although Fusika admitted being served with bail application around 12:30 p.m., Justice Omotosho noted that the application was not yet in court file. In reaction, the justice, Ate prayed to be allowed to return the next day to argue the bail application, which request Fusika did not oppose. Okay, and the judge then adjourned to Friday for hearing of bail application and order that the defendant has been remanded in Kuje Correctional Center. Okay, we have to just watch out for the outcome of this. Where it's been adjourned, so we just have to look out for what is to come from this.
All right, moving ahead to the Guardian newspaper. It says, Nigerian imperial state, everybody is hungry. Former Deputy Governor of Ekiti State, Biodun Olujimi, in this interview with this person, said, assess the internal politics. All right, let's move higher. They said, many people have inched the perennial internal crisis in Ekiti PDP. On the power tussle between you and the former governor, Ayodele Fashe, is more of an interview between the governor and our... How should I put it? It said the illusion that the crisis in our party is a result of power tussle is unfounded. The truth is that there is no power tussle. What happened every time is that the former governor always abandoned the party after election. When the party is abandoned, people drift to go astray to a level when it will be difficult to bring them back. That is always when people call on me to salvage the party by forming a group that will bring members. And what do you think about this, Sheon? Everybody, Nigerian Bucharest State, everybody is hungry. Is that true?
Well, I mean, I want to see. Here's the thing: is it true or not? It's not the answer, but it's obvious that the times right now it's not favorable to everybody.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Whether Nigerians are hungry or not is not. It's really not a yes for me. It's really not a yes or no answer, but it is obvious that Nigeria, as of today, we're going through different challenges, and we hope that we can come out of this in one piece. We just hope we can come out of this in one piece. Let's go on a break right now. When we come back, okay, before then we have a call. Hello, good morning. Hello,
Good morning.
09056969961. That's the number to call. Or you can head over to our Facebook page at Iri 96.1 FM Ibadan. 09056969961. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Rush.
This is Miriam. I'm calling from Odejai.
Welcome, Miriam from Odejai.
Right, thank you. As regards the court judgment on local government autonomy, I believe it's indeed a good one. We are only employing the local government chairmen across the 36 states not to default in their duties, because we have so much belief in them, which was why we were all clamoring for their autonomy. I will only beg them not to let us down. That's my big good one.
Thank you so much.
Pray and hope so.
09056969961. 09056969961. It's about time we go on our break right now. When we come back, we'll be taking more stories and more calls. Yes, that's when we do that. After the break, don't go anywhere. The Morning Rush returns shortly.
Erie 96.1 FM. We are the king.
You are locked into Erie 96.1 FM, the majestic station that rules the sound waves.
Let's go. This is your radio, your station. You're locked into 96.1 Erie FM. Your station. Erie 96.1. Star Classics. We are the king.
Africa.
In the heart of Africa, where the sun's golden rays illuminate the vast landscape, a kingdom of pride and heritage awaits. Welcome to the realm where royalty thrives, where the spirit of kingship echoes through the ages. Discover the majestic allure of being a king. This is Erie 96.1 FM. We are the king.
Welcome back from that short break, and don't forget you can join us, you can contribute to the stories on 09056969961. 09056969961. This is the Morning Rush.
Okay,
or you can head
a call right now. Thank you, sir.
Yes, regards to judgment, I think it's a good one for Nigeria. But the best way for us is that the sharing formula, they need to do something on it by allowing the local government to have 40%, the state and federal government to take in 30% each. And not only that, from what the state government said yesterday, that it is now for all the states to tax on productivity. The way they will increase the state IGR, I think that's the best way to go. So the local government chairman also, they need to think outside the box to increase the IGR of each local government, able to perform well without relying on park allocation every month. That's my own submission this morning. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We appreciate your call.
09056969961. I mean, people are excited about the judgment. Local government.
Yes.
What's your take? 09056969961.
All right, still on the Guardian newspaper, I have the story. Federal government begin CNG conversion. That's a natural gas conversion. Promises 50% reduction in transport cost. It said from Agbakoba, fuel scarcity shows PIA is inefficient. And the story read thus. It said, federal government yesterday in Abuja commenced the conversion of vehicles to run on compressed natural gas, CNG, targeting to transmit 1 million automobiles to run on gas in the next 2 years. Expected to take off with 20,000 kits, which were purchased through palliative. The government said commercial transporters, National Union of Road Transport Workers and Nigerian Association of Road Transport Owners, NATO, would be given the kits at no cost, including installation, while hailing vehicle from boats, lag ride, and as Lagos Ride and Order will be given 50% discount. About 5 companies, Portland Gas, NIPCO, ABG Oil and Gas, Fix It 45, and Nigerian Institute of Transportation, NIIT, would immediately kickstart the conversation, as over 120 other vendors are expected to be enrolled across the country. Nigeria is seeking for a way to reduce dependence on premium motor spirits (PMS), while government is taking trillions of naira in subsidies. Speaking in Abuja, the project director, Presidential Compressed National Gas Initiative (PCNGI), Michael Oluwagbemi, said the move would reduce the cost of fuel for motorists about 50% and half of the cost of transportation in the country. He noted that instead of using diesel and PMS, Nigeria would begin using its abundant gas resources, which is being flared, exported with only little being utilized in drive the nation economy. And the story goes on and on. FG begins CNG conversion, promises 50% reduction in transport costs. I think this is a good move by the federal government.
It is, and it's good that because times are changing.
Yes.
I mean, in other climes, in some climes, so let me these are, it's not a discussion on the table. It's already in progress. So if Nigeria is moving with the time and era of 2024, it's good, but one would only just suggest that it's easier to start something, and let's just
it takes determination to actually reach it.
Apart from that, it's just I'm a bit skeptical about our maintenance culture right now. So once the plan is a good one. I mean, it's a good one, but facilitating it, implementing it, and maintaining it, sustaining it to have its desired result that's what would just make it a sweet taste in the taste buds entirely. So it's a good one. Nigeria is moving with time. If it's going to cause a reduction in transportation costs. I mean, you know what transportation does to the train of production in Nigeria.
Yes.
Because before you buy something, they'll say you understand? So if there's a reduction in all those things, it's kind of trickles down to the welfare of Nigeria.
Yeah,
so
it will really help the economy.
Yeah, we only hope that our thoughts and their plan align.
Yes.
So, okay. 09056969961. You also can still be part of the conversation. 09056969961. Or you go to our Facebook page at Erie 96.1 FM Ibadan. Okay, the last story I have for today, it's talking about the school feeding scheme. Fund school feeding scheme with recovered loot. Governor tells federal government. The federal government has been called upon to use loot recovered by the Economic and Crimes Commission, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, from corrupt Nigeria to fund the homegrown food program in the country. Katsina State Governor Diko Rada made the appeal when he hosted the national coordinator of the renewed Hope National Homegrown School Feeding Program, Mrs. Anjo Obande in Katsina. Rada also called on the government to get development partners to collaborate with the country to make the program viable. He stressed the need for a national partnership and increased funding to support expansion of the program. The governor said homegrown program, when given necessary attention, will reduce the number of out-of-school children. While highlighting the state's financial burden, the governor stated that the state government was grappling with feeding over 30,000 students in boarding schools alongside other projects and programs. The situation, he said, has been complicated by the pending issue of minimum wage increase. He submitted that expanding the feeding program in the state to include some 2 billion pupils from primary 1 to primary 3 would significantly increase the number of beneficiaries. The government reaffirmed its administration's preparedness to supporting effective implementation of the scheme. And responding, Mrs. Obande recalled that the initiative initiated by the past administration was suspended in February due to observed irregularities. Okay, she assured that the government is back to create a greater impact. The federal official explained that the program ensures school children get nutritious food to improve educational outcome and encourage them to complete their education. The guidance has this report, and it says, fund school feeding scheme with recovered loot. Governor tells federal government. Okay, and that's the last story. What do you think about this? I mean,
I like this move by the federal government, even the state government. I like this move. Well, I just hope they
I
really
think
work
it's
towards it.
Yeah, it's the maintenance culture, because the program was started by the previous administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari,
yeah.
and it was suspended based on what she said, Mrs. Obade said, that because of irregularity. It's just so sad that something as noble and as innocent, an idea as innocent, a project as innocent as feeding children so that they are not out of school. You know, it's been, people take advantage of such programs, and at the end, it creates a counter-effective effect. Okay.
Effect, yes.
Okay, we have a text message right now.
Yeah, a text message from Mr. Ademola. He said, I am Ademola from Ibadan. We have 3 tiers of government: the federal government, state government, and the local government. The federal government will send money, allocation to the state, local governments. They are still working together. We wish you all the best. All right. Thank you, Mr. Ademola.
Thank you, Mr. Ademola, for sending
we
in
receive
that.
your message.
Yes, thank you so much. To everyone that called, Mrs. Miriam and Mr. Adekola, thank you so much for calling and lending your thoughts. And to everyone on our Facebook page, on Facebook.
Mr. Imafoje Peter, he said, good morning, great presenter in the great radio station. Well done, guys. Thank you, Mr. Imafoje. And from Ilesomi Oriwe Idowu, he said, good morning. Thank you for reacting. Thank you for your comments. And to everyone that watch us live on Facebook, to everyone that shares also. We say thank you very much for staying tuned to Iwi. And from joining us on Morning Rush. All right, Oluwaseun, I think this is where we'll wrap it up for today's Morning Rush.
Yes.
To meet on Monday's edition on Morning Rush with one of our colleagues. We'll say good day and have a lovely day. I remain Morenike Olorunsola Olatunde.
Okay, and I am still Oluwaseun Ogunrotimi. Have a wonderful day ahead. Good morning.